Okay, so you know that feeling, right? Like that nudge that you get that things could be a little bit better? You know that one area that you keep saying you'll tackle, but then somehow like the weeks and months just go by and you haven't done anything about it.
Yeah, totally. And
Yeah.
and that feeling of wanting to make a change, but then not having the momentum to actually follow through is something I think a lot of people experience.
For sure.
And I think that's why the idea of a really focused effort, but over like a shorter period of time, like 1 month, could be really interesting, right?
Yeah.
Some people call this a 1-month self-transformation challenge or a self-isolation period for goal achievement.
Right. And I think the reason it's so interesting is that it's achievable, right? Like 1 month, you can wrap your head around that versus like, oh, I'm going to change my whole life. It's like, okay, I can try this thing for a month and see how it goes.
And I think that's what we're going to dive into today.
Yeah, exactly.
How dedicating that really concentrated time can help you actually break those old patterns.
Exactly. And we have got some really cool stuff to dive into today.
Awesome.
We have personal stories. We have actionable strategies from people who have tried this.
Love it.
And we're going to get into some really cool insights that I think are going to make you think, okay, this isn't just another self-help fad.
Totally.
Our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack how we can use these 30 days and dedicate them to a single meaningful goal.
Okay.
But also being really, really intentional about what we let into our lives during this period.
I like it.
And how that can lead to some pretty significant shifts.
Okay. I'll go.
So let's start with this idea of focus isolation.
Yeah.
Why is it so effective to zero in on just one thing for an entire month?
So what's really fascinating, looking at the research that you sent over, is that there's this recurring emphasis on the power of singularity.
Okay.
It's like trying to water 1 million plants with just a tiny bit of water.
Yeah.
None of them really thrive,
It's
right?
all kind of sad and wilted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to pick one.
Yep.
So the same principle applies when you're trying to make changes in your life.
Okay.
By picking just one goal or one area of your life and focusing on that for 30 days, you're basically concentrating all your available energy into this one single potent stream.
Okay. I like that analogy.
Thanks.
So you're not scattered. You're really aiming for this breakthrough in one specific area.
Yes.
And actually, in one of the personal experience articles you sent,
Yeah.
the author described this really cool feeling. I'm just going to quote it here. It said, oh my God, I actually did that. I transformed myself in this way, and it feels like something fundamental has shifted.
Wow.
That's pretty powerful.
It is. And that actually connects to a really important idea in psychology called self-efficacy.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that.
Yeah. So it's basically your belief in your own ability to succeed in specific situations or accomplish a task.
Okay.
When you set a challenging goal and you actually achieve it, even if it's in a short time frame like a month, it sends a powerful message to your brain.
Which is?
I am capable of this. Exactly. It's not just about the specific goal. It's about building this foundation of I can do things.
Yeah, I love that.
Think of it like this: every successful mini challenge that you overcome is like laying down another brick in the foundation of your self-belief.
Okay.
The more bricks you lay, the stronger that foundation becomes. And then any future challenges start to feel less daunting.
I love that. It's like you're building up that muscle of I can do hard things.
Exactly.
So, okay, for those of you listening who are thinking, okay, this makes sense, but how do I pick the one thing?
Yeah.
How do I even figure out what that goal should be?
That's a great question.
What guidance do the sources offer for figuring out what to focus on?
So the sources that you shared really guide us to ask ourselves a couple of key questions.
Yeah, okay.
And the first one is, what is one realistic change that you could make in a month that would be most meaningful to you?
Okay.
And I want to emphasize the word realistic here.
Yeah.
It's not about saying, okay, I'm going to run a marathon next month if you've never run a day in your life.
Right.
It's about setting a goal that is significant but also attainable.
Right, within that 30-day window.
Exactly. So once you've got that goal in mind, you really want to dig into the why.
Okay, the why behind the goal.
Why is this goal meaningful to you? What's the deeper motivation that is fueling this desire to make a change?
Okay.
And perhaps most importantly, how will it feel to actually achieve this goal at the end of the month?
Okay.
And try to actually visualize that feeling.
Right.
The sense of accomplishment, the pride, the boost in confidence.
I love that, actually picturing yourself feeling that.
Yeah.
That's a really powerful thing.
It is. And actually, in one of the more action-oriented sources that you shared,
Yeah.
the author suggests creating a visual board,
Okay, a vision board?
Yeah, a collection of images, words,
Yeah.
anything that represents that goal just to keep it front and center.
I love that.
Yeah, visual aids can be incredibly effective.
Totally, because you see it all the time.
Exactly.
Okay, so this next point I thought was really interesting, and in some ways a little surprising. Okay. One of the sources strongly advises keeping your goals private, at least during this initial month of focused effort.
Interesting.
Why is that?
That is really fascinating and counterintuitive, right?
Yeah, totally. It goes against all of the advice about accountability partners and telling people your goals.
Right. So what's really interesting here is the reasoning behind it.
Okay.
So from the sources,
Yeah.
what I'm seeing is that when we verbalize our goals and then we receive that validation or that praise from others,
Right.
your brain actually releases dopamine,
Okay.
which is a reward chemical. And this paradoxically can actually satisfy some of that drive that we have to do the hard work.
So it's like you get a little taste of that reward before you've actually done anything.
Exactly. It's like getting a taste of the victory before the battle's even begun.
Right.
Which can actually make the real reward feel less urgent.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the articles put it this way. It said, it tricks your mind into feeling like you've already accomplished it.
That's huge.
It is, right?
That's so interesting because you're telling people and they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Good for you. I'm so proud of you.
Right. You get all the accolades.
And your brain is like, okay, well, we're done here. We did it.
Exactly.
And then you don't feel the need to actually do the hard work.
And the source also highlights that there is greater satisfaction in sharing the actual result after the month is up.
Right. Imagine telling somebody, hey, guess what? I did this.
Right.
And you have the evidence to back it up.
Exactly. And that's way more powerful.
It's so powerful.
Because it shifts the focus from seeking that external validation for your intentions to experiencing that internal satisfaction of your actual achievements.
Okay, I love that.
Awesome.
So, okay, we've got our one goal.
Yes.
Keeping it under wraps for now.
I think it's secret.
Secret squirrel.
I love it.
What's the next crucial step, according to the sources, for making this focused month a success?
I think the next critical piece is all about creating the right environment for this intense focus.
Oh.
And that means actively eliminating distractions and setting those clear boundaries.
Right.
A lot of your sources refer to this as the isolation period.
Okay.
But it's important to clarify, this doesn't mean you have to become like a hermit.
Yeah, you're not going off the grid necessarily.
Exactly. It's more about strategically prioritizing your goal and minimizing anything that consistently pulls you away from it.
Okay, so it's not about social isolation in the traditional sense,
Right.
but more like a deliberate temporary focusing of energy inward.
Yes.
Okay, so how do we actually identify these distractions and tackle them head on because they're so good at derailing us?
Yeah. So one of the most effective strategies that came up over and over again in your sources was to really just get honest with yourself and create a list of your personal vices.
Okay, my vices.
Yeah, those things that you tend to use to procrastinate
Oh, yeah.
or avoid working on your goal.
Okay, so like the apps I mindlessly scroll.
Yes, those mindless scroll apps.
The shows that I binge watch.
Yes, binge watching.
All of the time wasters.
All those time wasters. Anything that consistently eats into your productive time.
Okay, yeah, I can think of a few.
I know, me too.
My doom scrolling habit is definitely going to have to go on a temporary back burner.
For sure. And a lot of your sources also talked about identifying people who don't make you feel good
Okay.
or who might be unsupportive of your goals,
Even unintentionally.
even unintentionally.
Yeah.
This isn't about cutting people out of your life permanently,
Right.
but maybe just temporarily limiting those interactions just to protect your energy and your focus during this really crucial month.
Yeah, that makes total sense because if you're trying to make a change and you're surrounded by people who are maybe negative or they don't quite get it,
Right.
it makes it that much harder.
It's like swimming upstream.
Exactly. And one of the articles suggests having like a polite explanation for your reduced availability during this time,
Oh, that's good.
which I think is really important.
Yeah. You don't want to create drama.
You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
You don't want to ghost anybody.
Right. It's about setting healthy boundaries.
Yes.
And prioritizing your well-being.
And your goal.
And your goal, right.
Yes.
So, okay, we're choosing our goal, we're keeping it quiet, we're eliminating distractions,
Yes.
we're setting boundaries. What's next?
Okay. So the next essential element that we're going to talk about is building those daily systems for success.
Okay.
And this is about establishing helpful routines and adopting those supportive mindsets
Okay.
and intentionally shaping your environment to really align with your goal.
Love it.
One key suggestion that kept coming up over and over again was to seek out mentors, therapists, trainers, online communities, resources, anything related to your goal.
Oh, that's so interesting because you're surrounding yourself with people who have already done it
Exactly.
or who are experts in that area.
Right. And they can offer that support and motivation and continued learning.
Yeah, it's like you're curating your world to support your goal.
Yes, I love that.
So, for example, if your goal is fitness related, you're going to follow those inspiring trainers online. You're going to listen to podcasts about nutrition.
Yes.
You're going to immerse yourself in that world.
You got it.
Okay, love that.
Yeah, and another crucial aspect that kept coming up was effective time organization.
Okay.
This is about breaking down that larger monthly goal into smaller, more manageable weekly or even daily tasks.
Right, bite-sized pieces.
Exactly.
So you're not overwhelmed by the bigness of it.
Exactly. And planning your day the night before and actually scheduling time for those goal-related activities into your day
Right.
can make it feel less overwhelming.
I love that.
Yeah. And one of your sources introduced this really powerful question that I think can help with this.
Okay.
And it is, what is the highest and best use of my time right now?
Oh, that's good.
Right. And the first thing that pops into your head when you ask yourself that question, honestly, is usually the most impactful activity you could be focusing on in that moment.
So it's about trusting your gut.
Yes, trust your intuition
Yeah.
and align your actions with your priorities in the present moment.
Okay, so it's a gut check.
Gut check for sure.
Love it.
So,
Okay, so let's talk about daily routines.
yes.
Because a lot of the sources talk about how important these are
Yeah.
to support you through this month.
Yes.
So can you walk me through this 3-step routine that you highlighted?
Sure. So the first step is establishing a warning intention.
Okay.
And this is when you wake up and you consciously tell yourself, today's going to be a great day because,
Okay.
and then fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank.
And then write it down.
Write down that one reason why it's going to be a great day.
Exactly. And this simple practice helps you set a positive and purposeful tone for the day.
Love that.
Yeah. And it really focuses your mind on what you want to achieve.
It's like instead of just letting the day happen to you,
Right.
you're setting an intention for it.
Exactly. You're in the driver's seat.
Okay, what's step 2?
Step 2 is a gratitude practice.
Okay.
And this is at the end of your day. And it's taking a few minutes just to reflect and write down at least 3 things that you're genuinely grateful for that day.
I love that.
Yeah, it helps to shift your focus from all the things that maybe went wrong that day
Right, all the negativity
to all the good things.
to the things that you appreciate.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that feels really important to maintain a positive outlook during this time.
For sure. And gratitude has been shown to have so many benefits for your mental and emotional well-being.
Totally.
So ending the day on that positive note is just a great way to stay resilient.
Awesome. What's the final step in this routine?
Okay, the final step is visualization.
Okay.
And this is about intentionally dedicating some time,
Okay.
whether it's in the morning to set your vision for the day or in the evening just to reinforce your progress.
Okay.
But it's really about vividly imagining the successful completion of your goal and connecting with those positive feelings.
So it's about tapping into those positive emotions
Yes.
that are going to help you stay motivated. Now, one of the sources you sent also mentioned a weekly life audit.
Yes.
Can you explain what that is?
Absolutely. So this weekly life audit is essentially dedicated time each week for self-reflection.
Okay.
So it's like a progress review, but for yourself and for your goal.
Got it.
You can journal or just sit and reflect.
Yeah.
But the questions you're asking yourself are, what worked well this past week in terms of my progress?
Okay.
What didn't go as planned?
Okay.
And what adjustments do I need to make to stay on track?
So it's like a weekly check-in.
Yes, weekly check-in with yourself.
Yeah, to make sure you're staying aligned.
Yes, and the source really emphasizes that this is about focusing on learning and progress
Okay.
and not getting discouraged by setbacks
Right.
or making excuses.
So adopting that growth mindset.
Exactly. Viewing those challenges, those missteps as opportunities for learning and refining your approach.
Okay. I love that.
Awesome. And another really interesting point that was brought up is the impact of your physical environment.
Okay.
What role can that play in this 1-month challenge?
Yeah, because a lot of people don't think about that.
Right.
You know, they're so focused on the internal stuff,
Right.
but our external environment actually has a huge impact.
It does.
So what do the sources say about that?
So they highlight the power of shaping your surroundings
Okay.
to support your goals.
Okay, so how do we do that?
So there are some simple but really intentional changes you can make,
Right.
like setting up a dedicated workspace
Okay.
that's conducive to focus,
Right.
keeping any materials for your goal visible,
Oh, yeah, I love that.
even decluttering.
Oh, yeah, decluttering is huge.
Yeah.
Especially if, like me, you have a tendency to let things pile up.
Same here.
It can make a big difference.
Yeah, and it's all about consciously making it easier to engage with your goal.
Yes.
And minimizing those environmental cues that might lead to distraction.
So you're setting yourself up for success.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, and then finally,
Yeah.
celebration.
Yes.
You've got to celebrate those wins.
You do.
So what do the sources say about that?
So they talk about setting smaller milestones
Okay.
throughout the month
Okay.
and then rewarding yourself for reaching them.
Okay.
It could be small acknowledgments and then a bigger reward when you achieve the main goal.
I love it.
Yeah. And a lot of the sources really emphasized actively tracking your progress.
Yes, because that gives you that visual representation of how far you've come.
Exactly. It's like proof.
Proof, yeah, and it's so motivating to see that.
Especially when motivation dips.
It's like, oh, wow, look how far I've come.
You got it.
I can keep going.
Exactly.
Okay, so to recap, based on all the insights from the sources, we're looking at choosing one laser-focused goal,
Yes.
keeping it private for this initial period,
Top secret.
proactively eliminating distractions, setting boundaries, building those daily systems with those routines and mindset shifts,
Yes.
doing those weekly check-ins
For sure.
to learn and adjust,
Yeah.
optimizing our environment,
Yes.
and celebrating every step of the way.
Celebrate those wins.
That sounds like a really comprehensive plan
It is.
for a transformative month.
Yes. And what's so powerful about this approach is that it's not about making those drastic, unsustainable overnight changes.
Right.
It's really about implementing focused strategies for a set period of time
Right.
to build that momentum and establish habits that are going to last beyond those 30 days.
Right. It's not about being perfect
No.
for 30 days.
It's about building something sustainable.
It's about making that lasting change.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive.
Awesome.
It's really making me think about this idea in a new way.
Me too.
So for you listening, maybe you've been feeling that pull,
Yeah.
that desire for something to shift.
For sure.
Take a moment right now and consider, what is that one specific goal
Yeah.
that you could really commit to for the next 30 days?
That's a great question.
And what are some of those small steps that you can start taking today,
Yes.
like right now?
I love that. And I think that raises a really compelling question. What if this focused month not only helps you achieve this specific goal, but it also rewires your brain to believe in your capacity for action and transformation?
That's huge.
What possibilities would that unlock for you in all other areas of your life going forward?
That's the real question.
Yes, the potential ripple effect is so powerful.
Wow, this has been amazing.
This has been fun.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We hope you got a lot out of it and that it's given you some motivation to explore this idea of a focused month for yourself.
Go for it.
Yeah, try it out. Let us know how it goes.
Yes, we want to hear from you.
Until next time, thanks for listening.
Bye.